Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is King of Ruthless and I'm bringing you the second game of the best of 5 series between aXa and RagequitTMO. And I think actually I want to explain here what they're asking about is whether I'm doing fine in the I guess he is asking about aXa because we're having some disconnect problems, but this is basically the best of 5 series game 2, the best of 5 series between RagequitTMO and aXa. Let me go and explain the background a little bit. When I first started to commentate on the VODs, on the replays sent in by aXa, discussing his new ZVT strategy, which focuses on upgraded lings and lots of two-base aggression. That way you can fend off lots of nice timing pushes by Tal'Darim. Well, the first video I put up was actually RagequitTMO, who claimed, that he was not playing to the best of his abilities and he wanted to have a best of 5 between aXa to show everyone out there that he was not some pushover like he was in the video. So, of course, both players agreed. I agreed to cast it, and here we are. And like I said a lot in the last video, we did have some streaming difficulties, so it was not fun for the viewers. Unfortunately, it was not fun for me having to deal with all of that nonsense. So, we may do with what we had, but this is the reason why I'm recasting these games, and I'm going to be bringing you fresh, brand new VODs. So if you guys are there for the live cast, hopefully you'll be seeing some VODs here with zero lag, with zero technical difficulties, and hopefully they'll be most enjoyable for all of you guys out there. Now, this is the second match in the series. If you didn't watch Game 1, you should turn back and watch it right now, because I'm about to give away spoilers. RagequitTMO just took out aXa in that first game, and it wasn't close or anything at all. In fact, RagequitTMO just did a build which completely countered what aXa was doing. And so there wasn't much that Zerg could do in that position. There's two Banshees with Cloak. There's a Raven that had plenty of PDD, energy for PDD and auto turrets, as well as a Medevac, and then lots of Marines with Stim, a couple of Marauders as well, and a lot of SCVs really. So it was a very nicely constructed push, and there's just not much that Zerg can really do about that if they go for this mass ling style. And I think the only things that they really can do in that situation is get a faster +1, but even better, get Banelings. Banelings would be the easiest way to deal with that situation, to deal with that build. But as we see here, aXa, since he lost the first game, he did pick Tal'Darim Altar for the second map. And I think this is one of the maps that does favor Zerg. The only problem is that Tal'Darim spawned in favorable locations to Zerg. So any sort of two-base timing plays will be especially strong for Tal'Darim. And really, Zerg just has to defend these and macro wisely, and just pick and choose at times to make units and to when to macro up. It's kind of hard to tell that, but there is plenty of rush distance between here and there. You do have to go all the way around. But of course, we've seen time and time again Tal'Darim siege up a couple of tanks right here, chill away at this gas, and Ferry and Marines up here at the top. As well, we have seen Marine and Blue Flame Hellion drops. Those are equally fun to deal with as Zerg. So I'm sure a lot of us out there know very much about that. And if you guys didn't know this, by the way, I am a Zerg player as well. So this is kind of the reason why I got involved in these aXa replay casts, because I was having a lot of issues there with the 2-base timing push from Tal'Darim, or even the 1-base timing push where they would do something like 3 tanks with siege or maybe a 5-tank push. It's really the 3-tank pushes that were really hurting me. And the nice thing is that that mass ling build just completely wrecks it. So this will be quite a different game, in fact, because RagequitTMO has gone for that fast command center, and he will start his wall off here just to make sure he is safe against any sort of ling run bys or roach busts or baneling busts. It's kind of hard for Tal'Darim to deal with those. This isn't a complete wall off yet. He does need to finish this wall, but he will. RagequitTMO will make the complete wall off here with the barracks with a reactor attached as well. So now we will see a complete wall off, as well as, I believe, a factory. Yes, it is. And meanwhile, let's look at the income tab. aXa is up 29 to 23, so both players doing just fine in the macro department. And not much else going on here, so I guess I'll just kind of step back and I'll tell you guys a quick story, since this is sort of the downtime that you have in TVZ. Both players are just preparing their build, preparing for that mid-game timing or maybe that late-game timing that they like to go for. Well, we do have 2 more barracks going down, and we do have 2 gas. now a third gas has started as well for RagequitTMO, so I think he'll be prepared. I think this... Yeah, I mean, he's making the tech lab on the factory. We don't see a starport yet, so this should be something like take Marine, medevac. But anyways, I had the most fun time this entire week while you guys were waiting for these VODs. I was up in Boston, Massachusetts on a business trip. And funny story, I actually went up to Boston a day before I was supposed to. So I'm at the airport talking to my boss, and she realizes that, what are you doing at the airport? And it's like, well, I'm about to, you know, I'm boarding a flight. She's like, why are you boarding a flight? We're not supposed to go up till tomorrow. I was freaking out there for a second, but then I figured out, okay, it's only like a day off. That's not a big deal. I'll just find a place to hang out, a place to crash, you know, and see how much work I can get done in the meantime. And when I got to the airport, I was thinking, man, I might just have to stay at the airport because they do offer free Wi-Fi in the Boston airport. And I don't really know anyone in Massachusetts, but I do remember last time I was up there, I actually had an old childhood friend who lived kind of north of Massachusetts, so I got to hang out with her. She was a great host. Hung out with her and her roommate, and we just had a great time. Also got plenty of chance to work as well because they had decent internet at their place, so it actually ended up working out, even though I was up there a day early. So it's kind of like a mini vacation. Then I went into work, and then after the gig was up, so on Friday headed out to Manhattan. Yeah, that's right, New York, baby. So it wasn't Manhattan. I'm sorry, it's actually Brooklyn. Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn is insane. I love that neighborhood. Just had a fantastic time with my old college roommate from freshman year. Loved it, and I'm sure you guys are enjoying my tales of you know, me going up to Boston and business trips and all that fun stuff. And I'm sure you guys would also like to hear a little bit more about how this game is going to turn out here. It looks like there will be sort of a push out here for RagequitTMO. His siege has finished on his tanks, and I believe his stim has not yet finished, so he's going to go for a combat shield with siege tank timing attack. And just like we said before, he's going to start he's going to perch up right outside here and be annoying and start shelling away at this gas. And a lot of Zergs out there have a hard time with this. We even have a medevac out on the map as well. RagequitTMO is going to do a nice scan here and pick off a lot of these creep tumors. And remember, these Marines have combat shields, so they are very robust. And these siege tanks are going to go up and immediately shell away at this Vespane geyser. And now what you want to do as Terran is, yes, you do ferry up a couple of Marines up here, and you start to harass again. And remember, Zerg can't really do anything until Zerg gets medevacs in this situation, or you get enough links to surround and kill off this army. But RagequitTMO is taking this really slowly, just being very patient, making sure that no creatures come in. It looks like aXa is going to try and get the surround on these tanks. A lot of shelling being done and a lot of damage being done by these Zerglings, but I think one of the tanks will survive. It was not sieged up, and so still a fair amount of siege tanks, a fair amount of Marines here, and as long as these Marines stem in time, they should be able to handle these Zerglings just fine. There are no more Zerglings really out on the map for aXa, who is only 20 more Zerglings are on the way, but still I think this hatchery will go down as long as RagequitTMO puts his Marines in the correct location so the Zerglings cannot get a full surround. There will be nothing that aXa can do without Banelings in this position. You need Banelings or you need Infestors, but the Spine Callers have come up to clear this away, but they are too late. So aXa is now down to 2 bases, whereas RagequitTMO also has 2 bases. He has not been macroing as well as he could behind this. Oh no, a tank will get caught out on the map, so a bad rally point there by RagequitTMO. And aXa will get a nice pickup here, and he does have the opportunity right here to make a lot of Zerglings and go counterattack. And I feel like that's what he really needs to do in this situation. He needs to put Terran on the back foot, because that push by Terran was really successful, but he doesn't have a lot of stuff back at home. He is starting to make double engineering base, so we'll start on a lot of upgrades here for his Marines. And meanwhile, I mean, look at the supply discrepancies. It's 58 to 100. RagequitTMO is in just such a nice lead here. aXa is taking a hidden third. It'd be a lot better if he took this base. It's a lot easier to defend, especially when you have creep there to connect them. But aXa is at the very least going back to spreading that creep, making sure he gets all out and around on the map. Meanwhile, RagequitTMO is going to go in towards these rocks, pick them off, and set himself up for the third. We also have an infestation pit going down for aXa, as well as 2-2 should finish here momentarily. Meanwhile, 1-1 has started for Terran infantry. And really, once that finishes, these Marines are going to become very scary. You really want to have something like 3-3 against upgraded Marines. 2-2 is fine, but if they're upgraded even in the slightest, they become just so deadly, and you have to rely on those banelings to thin out those numbers. If you allow Terran to get that upgrade advantage, or even stay close to you on, as well as you know, as far as when it comes to upgrades, it's just really hard for Zergs to, you know, kill off all that many Marines without banelings. With just Zerglings alone, it's very tough. But anyways, we have started more creep spread here for aXa, and I think RagequitTMO has decided that he has plenty of Marines and tanks, and he will push out yet again. Hive is on the way for aXa as well. There's the hatchery going to go down as well. But he's just started on his pathogens glands, and he can make some infestors here. If he can make infestors in enough time, I think he could be able to slow down this push, but he's only able to make one infestor. Just spending so many minerals on all these Zerglings. But meanwhile, Terran has already sieged up, so there's not much that Zerg can do here. He could try to run in and get us around on the tanks, but he missed his opportunity. They have fallen back. And now I think the siege tanks, yeah, they are going to go back up here, and they are going to siege back up again. But there is no hatchery here, so there's not much to be done. Meanwhile, another drop is going out, I guess towards the third, to do some more damage. Not sure what RagequitTMO is doing, continuing to ferry in units. There's nothing here to really attack. Meanwhile, this drop will get picked off. So aXa's looking fine in the situation. In fact, he's starting on adrenal glands, and he's getting out more and more infestors. So as long as he can keep these infestors alive and keep them cost efficient, I think he will be fine. But aXa is taking a few hits off of his Zerglings, quite a few hits actually. Meanwhile, 2-2 has started for Terran's infantry, so these guys will become even more powerful. Marines are continuing to get ferried in. I think this medevac is actually heading for the main base. Ultralisk Cavern going down for aXa. And these Marines are going to get dropped off in the main base, and they will be able, I believe, to take out these Queens, unless RagequitTMO or aXa can actually get them back in time. Nice transfuse going off, but it will not be enough. One of the Queens does go down. And finally, a fungal lands, and so this harass will be cleaned up, as well as the medevac, but the damage has been done. A Queen and a couple of Marines for one Queen, I'm sorry, for a Queen for a couple of Marines and medevac. It's not the best trade in the world. And now these units will get surrounded. And yeah, this push gets cleaned up, right, by aXa. But here is the problem. He does have Hive Tech, but he's only on 3 base. He's not even mining off of his 3rd base. So the income is really limited. When you get to Hive Tech, you really need 3 bases that are fully saturated to hold off these pushes and to really keep yourself in the game. So more Marines being taken out by these Zerglings, but meanwhile, Terran is throwing down 2 more command centers, which means he's going to be able to mule like crazy and expand everywhere. These Zerglings are doing whatever they can to keep these Marines at bay, these infestors doing what they can. And I felt like, you know, he had a chance there to pick off these medevacs, maybe drop some infested Terran. But I know infestor energy is really, you really have to hold on to it as much as you can. A nice fungal going off, actually misses half of the Marines, but he does hit him with the 2nd fungal. But he's losing, oh no, he's losing all of his infestors. So a big miss micro there from aXa. And he's going to lose all but 2 infestors. This is going to get very serious very soon, losing another infestor. So ladies and gentlemen, we don't have very much left. We only have 3 infestors and a couple of Zerglings. This is not going to be nearly enough to hold off this impending push, which is starting to materialize outside of RagequitTMO's base. The supply is saying it all. 140 to 97. Now Carapace level 3 has started for aXa's Zerglings, but then again, infantry armor level 3 and attack level 3 is just now starting for Terran. So if Terran can wait long enough for his Marines to get to 3-3 and do a push out across the map, there's not going to be very much that aXa can do to, you know, hold it off. Not sure why RagequitTMO isn't repairing his medevacs. He could definitely afford to do so. He can also afford, I guess, to throw down more barracks. Finally, more barracks are going down, but I would like to see some, you know, reactors as well. That would help out so much with the macro. But it looks like this next push will come out. Burrow as well as Ultralisk are on the way. And I don't think this is going to be nearly enough for aXa to, you know, be able to fend off this push. But I think he will be able to get all 3 of the tanks. He needs to run away his Infestors, so losing all the Infestors there and weakening the Marines, but not quite killing them. All of these medevacs have plenty of energy, so they will be able to heal these Marines as speedily as possible. More Zerglings getting killed off here. Marines are splitting to avoid those fungals. And, you know, Ox is just in a world of hurt here. There's not much he can do. He's only on 3 base, and I think these Marines are going down to the 4th as well to take out this expansion. There's not much defense over here as well. And these Ultralists really, they need Zergling support to take out these Marines, but one of the Ultralists going down. So a little bit of missed micromanagement there by aXa, who will be able to pick away at these drones, but no, the Zerglings and Ultralists do come in time. Meanwhile, Marines being dropped off on the high ground will be able to be ever more annoying. So the medevacs will all have to run back, but look how many medevacs that is. That's like 7 medevacs. And meanwhile, RagequitTMO is on 4 bases. Not quite yet mining from that 4th base. He could start more SCV production. Let's look at the income tab, actually. 65 to 72, so never mind what I just said. I think he's doing just fine. Actually starting to make Ghost, as well as that Terran vehicle weapons level 2. Mobius reactor to his Ghost will have enough energy for EMP. And these Marines, man, they're just going to be able to do so much harassment. Zerglings are running around the map trying to look for these Marines, but unfortunately they're going to slip right on by these Marines. So when the drone goes to make this expansion, these Marines are going to easily snipe the hatchery, might even snipe the drone. Finally saturating his 4th base. RagequitTMO's in a great position here. He's got, I think, 4 orbitals. He could do more muling, more expanding. Meanwhile, 2 dropships are on the way. And I feel like on larger maps like this, it really helps to have Mutalisks. You can go for this ground army style, but especially if you're behind in the game like aXa is. Nice fungal, but there's just not enough Infestors here to take out the medevacs. I think one of them might go down. No, one does get away with maybe 1 hit point. Meanwhile, a nice contingent of Marines and tanks are going to start the siege up on the outside of RagequitTMO of aXa's base. And aXa's going to go for it, but this is not a lot of units. I don't think he has enough really to fend this off. And now the next contingent of forces from RagequitTMO is going to come in, clean up all the Ultralists, and that will do it for the game, ladies and gentlemen. aXa GG's out. RagequitTMO is up 2-0 in this series, and we're going to move on straight to Game 3.